Welcome, Benchmark family, to yet another excellent edition of the Benchmark Studios podcast. With me today is Lydia. Lydia is awesome and runs all of the upstairs at Benchmark program, the Women's Strength and Fitness Center. So today we're going to learn a little bit more about the Women's Strength and Fitness Center, and we'll get right into it. Lydia, tell me about what you do here at Benchmark.
Hey, so like you were saying, I am the Women's Strength and Fitness Center manager. And so what that entails, on our second floor, we have a gym that is specifically for young women here in Lancaster County. And it is just that. It was a space that was created because we realized, one, it kept being assumed that we were a gym just for boys, and we indeed were not. But because of that, it's heavily male dominated. So it ended up kind of, I don't want to call it a stigma, but just the belief around it. And so when we would get young girls coming in, when you walk in, it is loud, it is crowded, it is smelly because you just have all these teenage boys everywhere. But we were well aware of the need for a space for young girls in Lancaster County to be able to come in and feel free to lift, to work out, to do yoga, whatever it is that they wanted to do. This space was necessary, and it was a space that nobody else, and still currently, wasn't really offering. And so we decided to open up the Women's Strength and Fitness Center. It's been a little over a year, and while we're still working towards getting the numbers up, getting more girls in, we are seeing more engagement. We are seeing and hearing from girls who come and spend time with us that, they are grateful for the space, and to be able to come in and not feel so intimidated. I think about even myself as an adult woman going into a gym space and feeling very uncomfortable, feeling self-conscious. And so I can't imagine a young girl trying to come into a space like that. And mind you, make no mistake, our young men are respectful. They, there's never like that, oh, there's a girl here. Like, it's like, okay, there's just another person here.
Right.
But it still was a necessary space. And so we decided to make that space available to the girls. And I get the privilege of overseeing it and coming up with new ideas and ways to engage the young ladies here in Lancaster County through the Women's Strength and Fitness Center.
Well, I can definitely say from my perspective, you've done a great job of building it from there. I mean, Benchmark, the ethos has always been innovation and pivoting to meet the specific needs in our community. And like you already said, this was a need, and filling it is sometimes harder than seeing the need.
Right.
So tell me about how you've gone about building the programming and like what you offer.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing I love the most too about working at Benchmark and our leadership, like Will Witt, is that it's very like, hey, we can give you some guidance and ideas, but like this is your space. You do what you think is best. You implement the things that you're seeing, the needs that you're seeing. So I've had the privilege to meet those needs. And so again, while we actually just revamped upstairs. So we got a ton of new equipment, like really nice equipment. And just some other things, it still was like there was a need for girls especially to be able to come into the space and kind of just be soft and not have to like feel like they have to lift or they have to move their body or, exercise. And so we started, and when I say we, myself, and we just recently brought on another mentor who we started offering different avenues for the girls to engage. I'm a firm believer in a holistic approach to health. And when I say holistic, I mean the whole body, the mind, the spirit, whatever that looks like to an individual. And so being able to, we do healing through hobbies. And so we do junk journaling and vision boards. We've had a sewing class, and the girls I would have never thought. Now, mind you, my girlfriend who came in and did the sewing class with them, she's so cool. She's so cool. So her energy like just drew everybody in. But I would have never thought that the girls would have loved it so much. She's actually coming again this week and doing some more classes because the girls loved it. And I think really what it is that being able to just engage in something new, have very real conversation with each other, not have to worry about school, work, whatever was going on in life. You know, and it's in those moments where we have some of our deepest conversations with our girls.
Yeah.
And there's a freedom. And that for me has been the driving force is every time they come up the steps and walk through that door, that when they walk into the Women's Strength and Fitness Center, there is a freedom that is offered to them that might not be offered outside of the four walls. So, yeah.
That's cool. So, just so I know, like a big sewing machine that more like
no. So this time around, she's actually
through.
bringing a sewing machine. But
Okay.
last time we got them like their first little sewing kit, and so it came with like needle and thread and all of the things. And she brought. So she is a local designer here in Lancaster. So she makes handbags, she makes clothes. She's incredible. She brought kind of pre-made little coin pouches. So she sewed on the zipper and put the cloth on, but then the girls had to do the rest. And so she walked them through, you know, how to do it. And I think too, like when it was over, for so many of them, they had never, I never sewn anything like that. Yeah. And it was the sense of accomplishment. Like they were so proud of themselves for sewing this little coin pouch together. And like when you sewed it, you had to then like flip it the other way around so that the zipper was out and then, you know, finish closing it up. And there was such a sense of accomplishment. And they're like, Miss, look, I made a coin pouch. I can sew anything. And I'm like, you can sew anything. You can sew anything you want. And so, yeah, it's in those moments. That's the reason there, you know, and if they choose to come upstairs, and sometimes they do. Sometimes they'll come upstairs and work out and, you know, lift heavy, lift light, and other times they don't. Sometimes we're sitting upstairs in our lounge area all evening talking and carrying conversation and venting and letting them vent and just kind of like unload and being like, okay, you know, how do you want, one of the questions that we often will ask the girls is, do you want our opinion or do you just want us to listen? Because I know how much I could not stand when I just needed to like unload and then someone wanted to give their opinion. And it's like, I didn't ask for that. And so, yeah, just do you want our opinion or do you just want us to listen? And giving that autonomy in every way. Every way, making those choices. But yeah, so the same we did for Earth Day, we did terrariums, and they could not have loved it more. And just like playing in the dirt and being messy and, you know, choosing, you know, which succulents and all of the things they wanted to put together. And again, like when it was over, that sense of accomplishment that they made this beautiful thing. And there are moments where you realize like some of the girls are like, I'm actually capable of making beautiful things. So yeah.
That's so cool. And that is, I feel like an immediate, tangible way that you can build in feelings about themselves. Like if they are gaining so much accomplishment and pride and ownership from small, you know, things, crafts and lifts and whatever, to build a sense of personhood for them that includes just strength and ownership and whatever else. Have you seen a lot of that crossover for any students, for like taking the micro, the small crafts and whatever to the macro, like this is how I want to live my life, or
yeah, and the same, like sometimes it's small on both ends, you know, and seeing some of our girls who realizing like, again, that they're capable of these things and actually maybe I could do something else. Maybe I could. And that's one of the things, like, I don't have myself and our mentor, Justice, like, we don't have all the answers. We can't give them, like, there are things that we both bring to the table and offer to them. But it's why I'm so intentional and diligent on bringing in other women to offer these things, because who's to say that one of our girls doesn't fall madly in love with sewing?
Right.
And now they have this connection with, Janelle, who came in to do the sewing and all of that, and are like, hey, like, would you mentor me so I can? And I already know that she's the type of woman who'd be like, absolutely, yes. Like, absolutely, I will take you under my wing. The same with our mural painting that is currently happening. It's the same. Like, we have some girls who just absolutely love art and love to paint, and having this opportunity to work alongside a local artist, and not just a local, but a local artist who looks like them, dark skin, curly hair, all of the things, graduated from the same school, and is now out here making waves and being able to say
on our building, waves.
And being able
Literally.
to, and being able to say, hey, would you mentor me? Like, could I like come and help you sometime? And again, knowing that Keisha would say, yes, absolutely yes. So yeah, like, again, to your question, we are seeing those things. And even in the ways they treat each other, like, there have been times where we've had girls in the space who we know, and they've made very clear, I don't get along with her in school. I don't like her. And we tell them, listen, you don't have to be friends. You don't have to chop it up when you're here, none of the things. But you do have to respect each other when you are in these four walls. Because you are living in a space and in a system that already wants and is set up to tear you all down, to watch you self-destruct. Don't give into it. Don't give into it by bringing harm to each other. And it doesn't always have to be physical harm. It could be gossip. It could be spreading rumors, all of the things. Don't do it. Don't do it. And in this space, we won't allow it. And so then seeing girls who now are in the Women's Strength and Fitness Center space, engaging with each other, even if it's just small talk, even if it's just like little conversations like that, that's all I can give. I can't give her more than that. That's enough. That's enough. So yeah, in those areas too, seeing that change happen is huge.
Is there a specific story or moment from the Women's Strength and Fitness Center that really stands out to you and like impacted you?
Oh my gosh. There's lots. I think what comes to mind, like off the top of my head right now, currently, we have a young lady who has had and is still having a lot of ups and downs, a lot of self-doubt, not seeing the value in herself, not loving herself at all. And she came to me. She's the only girl here who does boxing and like does it to compete. Like, not like, oh, I'm going to put the gloves on and just do it to do it. And anyone who knows Benchmark knows that there is almost nothing we won't do for our students. Yeah. If they have a need, we're going to meet it and oftentimes exceed it so that they know that like they deserve it and they're worthy of that. She came to me and asked about boxing shoes. She's like, I don't have any. I can't afford them. Neither can my parent, but I want to earn them. I'm like, okay, girl. Like, she was like, so what can I do? Can I like clean around the building? Can I do this? Can I do that? You know, like she wanted like manual things to do. Yeah. And I don't know what it was. You can call it the universe, the divine. Like in that moment, I was like, no, actually, for the next 4 weeks, every Monday, I need you to bring me a love letter that you wrote to yourself. You do that. I was like, it doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be long. A love letter you wrote to yourself. Bring it to me. I can keep it if you want. You can keep it. You can destroy it. You do that. We'll get you the shoes. I was like, and I'll make sure you have the dopest boxing shoes. And it threw her off. It really threw her off. Sure. She was, ready for manual labor. Like she was ready to scrub, clean, whatever, take out trash, all of the things. And while I love that, it's like, no, actually, like, let's pour into you. Like, let's actually show you that you deserve these for a whole other reason. And so she did it. She gave me her first letter, and she was very anxious about it. And like, so much so that she was like, the writing is really sloppy and I'm so sorry. And I'm like, that's okay. I got the gist of it. And I gave it back, and she was like, no, can you keep it? She's like, I want you to keep them. And I was like, okay. And so I have them. They're at my house, somewhere safe, so this way, like, she doesn't have to worry about anybody else finding them. And so seeing that shift, like, even when she brought it, like, there was this shift of like, I actually wrote that to myself. Like, there are really good things about me, and I'm actually a pretty cool kid. And yeah, so seeing that shift in her, and remembering being that girl, like feeling wildly unworthy, and always second guessing myself, and now being able to be the one to pour into other girls. I have my own children, but like, they're they're my babies. Like, and I say it, like, people be like, oh, how many kids do you have? And I'm like, well, do you want me to be technical, or do you want me to, like, because I've got a good 75, yeah. And so, like, that's probably currently there. I can tell you right now, we could be here all day with the stories to tell, but that one currently is the one that, like, really is sticking with me.
Well, I mean, it's going to stick with me, and I'm not even involved. That's so cool. Wow. Can we end the podcast now? That feels appropriate.
Yeah. I think when all of our students, even the boys, like, just how valuable and that's so much of where, I don't want to say the behaviors, like, but things that we see, anyone who knows us knows we work with at-risk youth, and they're at risk for a number of different things, but a lot of the times at their core, there was a need that wasn't met. There's needs that still aren't being met. And so to be trusted to meet those needs, far beyond just physical needs, is something that I know myself and 99.9999999% of our staff, 100% of our staff, doesn't take lightly. Like, it's like these, because for a lot of us, that was us. And so to, again, be trusted. And for me personally, it is the divine. And I'm like, I want to be able to one day be like, I did what I was supposed to do. And I did it well. Yeah. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that is, I guess, another question I wanted to ask. Where's your motivation coming from? Like, what makes you, even at the end of, like, your worst day at Benchmark, what makes you still get up the next morning and come back?
Yeah.
With food, by the way. With food. Lydia feeds many people.
It's a love language. It really is. Especially as an Afro-Latina woman, like, that was the thing. I can remember both my grandmothers, even if they didn't have a lot, they still always fed you when you came into their home. And so, yeah, for me, like, I think about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, they would be turning in their graves if, like, I didn't offer food, if I didn't offer coffee. But to your question, I look around at our students, and I was and would have been a Benchmark kid. I say all the time, if I would have had a Benchmark when I was younger, a lot of my life would have looked different. I had my first child when I was 15, a product of ugliness. Like, this is not her. My children are breathtaking. But like, just how it happened, the things that took place. And my kids, I say all the time, saved my life. Like, I think I would have been a lot more reckless and wild had I not had children sooner. Like like had I it been later in life.
Sure.
But because I had them and living with a very real fear, like a terrifying, debilitating fear that they would be taken from me if I didn't do all the things right. But had I had a benchmark in my life, it could have looked very, very different for me. And I will, so that's my motivation, is being able to like, okay, one, being very mindful of not projecting my story, but also like utilizing it and letting it be my driving force to pour into our girls who come into this space. And again, even our boys. Like, yes, I'm the Women's Strength and Fitness Center manager, but I love all of our students deeply. And so while the girls are our main focus and my main focus, like I'm always like, oh, but the boys too. So that's, and I can't say, knock on wood, that I've had like a really bad day at Benchmark. I've had long days and days where I'm like, I'm absolutely exhausted. And that a lot of that comes from that carrying of, and I don't want to call them burdens, but when the girls do have these moments where they come to us and they unravel and they unload and they're hurting and they're upset, and holding that space for them and holding them is at times really exhausting. And so I have to be very intentional about my own care. And, when I go home, what does it look like for me to take care of myself in different ways? It's why I'm so diligent about making sure that like I work out regularly during the week and all of the things, so that I can continue to hold that space and hold them when they need me to. But my Justice and I always joke that like our skin doesn't look as pretty and our blood pressure has gone up since starting at Benchmark. And I would give those things up over and over and over and over and over again. And and it's not completely true. But like we always just joke and say that and like tell the girls that, and we're like, you've aged us. But again, would give it up and do it over and over and over again for them.
Yeah. Well, at least you still have the nails. That is...
That's why I keep putting this hand down here. So,
Yeah. Got to get some glue back out.
Yeah. My nail tech would kill me if I glued it. She is and she'll know. I've tried, and she knows. So
she knows. Oh, man. That's another level of attention to detail there.
Yeah.
She knows.
How did you know that? I cleaned it up. She's like, I can tell. I'm like, dang. So, yeah.
So what is your interaction with downstairs, the primarily male, like the open gym?
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, open gym is kind of the mainstay of Benchmark. It's voluntary, it's free. Any student can walk down. Most are referred, but a lot of kids just show up. They can work out, eat whatever they need. They, kind of fit the space. And so I imagine a lot of young men and young women walk in, and that program is their initial point of contact with Benchmark.
Right.
Are you, like, for lack of a better term, sourcing young women from open gym, or are you at a point where young women are coming through the front door and coming directly up to you?
Yeah. I feel like there's, we're at a point where there's like a balance. So we are getting more referrals. I just had a conversation this morning with a referral, and she'll be coming in Wednesday. But I try to be really intentional about like throughout the evening during open gym, coming downstairs and like kind of just scanning the layout to see if there's any new girls who may not know that we have the upstairs available to them. Our security guard does a really good job of like when he sees new female faces, hey, just a heads up, like while they're signing in, telling them, hey, like, just so you know, if you don't want to be in here, upstairs is for the girls. And like it's girls only. You don't have to worry about boys being down there. Interestingly enough, open gym is co-ed. So it can be girls and boys, which the boys will often give. Some of them will give us a hard time because now that we have all this new equipment, they're like, well, we want to be up here. And I'm so like, sweet. No. And there's a lot of reasons. We don't know which young lady might have really very real trauma around men, and so we have to honor that. But yeah, so Zoe and I work really well together to kind of like keep each other in the loop about what's going on in her program and mine. We have SLPs, so our student leaders, who also right now we're female dominated. So being really intentional to, one, allow them to take the lead and encourage them to like, hey, when you're downstairs or when you're roaming the building, if you see a new female face, engage her, let her know about upstairs, bring her upstairs. And a lot of ways they'll do that is kind of, so we have upstairs in the Women's Strength and Fitness Center, we have a closet that has all the female things, hair care products, skincare products, body wash. And if we don't have it, we'll get it. Even down to like the silk bonnets, because a lot of our girls are girls of color, and so they have to care for their hair very differently. And so like we got silk bonnets and like edge brushes, and they were just wildly excited and so grateful. So sometimes, they'll kind of entice them that way. I'm like, oh, let me show you the closet just in case you need anything. And then it's like, ha, you're up here now. Obviously, they can leave whenever they want. But so, yeah, we overlap a lot and try to really, again, stay engaged and keep each other in the loop so that both programs, Open Gym is just thriving and will always thrive. But yeah, just that support so that, again, young ladies who come into Benchmark know like, hey, you don't have to be down here if you don't want to, especially on the days when Open Gym is packed to the gills. It's even for me, like a grown adult woman, I'm like, I'm not intimidated, but this is a lot. This is a lot. So yeah.
Yeah. I've always felt that there's a very specific odor that teenage boys emit.
Our current SLPs, they've been with Benchmark for quite some time, or have gone to school with a lot of the boys who are in Open Gym. So they're not at all bothered or intimidated by the boys, or even when the space is crowded. But they will be the first, like they will not hesitate to be like, here's some deodorant because that is outrageous.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm like, okay, I hear you. Let's try to be kinder next time. So yeah, it is very, very specific.
Yeah.
It is very specific. And I think even with staff members, it takes a very special type of staff member to be completely unbothered. Like when I first started, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. But probably with like a week, I was like, all right, I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine.
It grows on you.
It does.
Maybe in a more literal sense than we would want, but
yeah.
Yeah, I can agree. Speaking from personal experience, initially it's a little overpowering, but you get used to it. And once you know the students for who they are as human beings, it's so easy to look past the superficial.
Yeah. And that oftentimes too is where like there's a need. Like they might like I can't tell you how many students, male or female, we've had conversation with, and I'm like, oh, you didn't have that conversation growing up. Like your parents didn't have that conversation with you about like caring for your body and the importance of like, washing every day, or like just all these different things, and why, and even for like our girls. And so having these conversations and pouring into them, and they're like, dang, like someone cared enough to tell me that, and to have this conversation with me and say, hey, listen, like, it's not just a shower. It's not just deodorant. Like it's self-care. Like you deserve, because there's some of that. Some of it is like, they don't care because they don't care for themselves, and someone else didn't either. And so now having someone who it's like, I'm having this conversation with you because I care, especially like eventually when you start looking for work, like most jobs aren't going to tolerate that. So how do we address this now in this space where it's safe and build you up, provide you with the things that you need to care for yourself and feel confident and feel, valued. So then when you step into the workspace or any other space, you do that with confidence. So yeah, even that oftentimes is a very real need.
Yeah. Yeah. Last year I was working with a student who was sent to the principal one day because the teacher, I guess, didn't want him to be in the classroom because he smelled so bad. And the conversation that came out was that his dog had urinated on his clothing and he didn't know how to do laundry. And so the clothing had dried. It was the night before that the dog had urinated. And so the clothing that was dry, he just put it on and went to school. And so many layers there to unpack. But a teacher walked him down, and they have a washer dryer at the school somewhere. Teacher walked him down, showed him how to use it. And I created a document just laying out like how to do laundry and different like workaround, like using vinegar or whatever to get tough stuff out and that kind of stuff. And so yeah, to your point, you never know what's happening in the background. And some of it is so sad, and I'm guilty of making offhand remarks or whatever before finding out. And it's a terrible feeling.
Yeah. And that's when and even to that, like the washing of the clothes, like that was one of the things when I did my tour here the first time with Will that blew me away when he showed me the washer and dryer and the shower. I was like, what?
Yeah.
No. And everything is provided. It's not like we have a washer and dryer, but they have to bring their own detergent. We have a shower, but they have to bring their own soap and towels and this and that. Like we have all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. And like even, when towels get dirty, staff, we just throw them in the wash and wash everything and have it ready and prepared for the next time around. Because it's that, like even students that we've had that have had issues with attendance and not showing up for school or whatever else, that's what it is. They weren't showing up for school because they didn't have clean clothes. Their water got cut off, so they couldn't, and now they're getting, slammed with truancy. And it's like, it was just a need that needed to be met. Like it was this need, and nobody stopped to ask. And you don't want to just openly share it because you feel shame around it. And so Will literally was like, we're meeting this need. Like we are meeting this need. And we have had students who come and bring their stuff. And, if they don't want to do it during open gym because they're like, I don't want anyone seeing me. Cool. One of our staff members will meet you here on the weekend and you can do your wash. Just you and I, we can hang out. Let's grab some lunch while your wash is doing its thing. Yeah. And then get you back home. So yeah, I'm always in awe of the ways in which, especially as staff, we have the liberty to meet needs. We had just recently one of our young ladies, her prom was this past weekend. Her dress didn't show up. Oh. The person who was supposed to do her nails and toes bailed on her. Like it was one thing. The only thing that was constant was the person who was going to do her hair. Outside of that, everything else fell through. She was beside herself. Wow. And I'm like, we're not doing, like, we got you. We got you. Yeah. Like, you don't. And I had a moment because she's been with us for a while. I'm like, girl, you already know you can ask. But there's this sense of like, I don't want to. Like, this is my problem. Nobody else's. I don't want anybody in my business. And so being able to step in and provide that for her. And, we got her to the nail salon. She got her nails and toes done. They were beautiful. Took her Saturday. No, the prom was Saturday. Took her Friday. And listen to me when I tell you, I despise going to the mall.
Oh. No, that's where this is headed. But Annie Ann's. I mean,
no, I don't care what's there.
Oh.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. You can ask my kids. Like, I absolutely despised the mall, but I'm like, I'm gonna take her to the mall. We're gonna go because there is a store that we know, for a fact. So really beautiful prom dresses. So it's like, we're going. And we went again, the divine, the grace of God, whatever you want to. She found her dress within maybe 30 minutes. I was like, oh, thank God. Oh God. Whew. And she looked beautiful. Beautiful. She got to prom. She had a time. And it was that, I was sitting waiting for her to show me her dress. And again, just in awe of the fact that I have this job where I can do this, where I have the liberty to take her and fulfill this need that is huge for her. A student who a couple years ago, you would have asked a teacher, a hall monitor, whoever else would have been like, she ain't making it to prom. She ain't even going to graduate. For her to graduate and go to prom. Oh, but we're getting you there. Yeah. We're going to get you there by any means. We are getting you there. And she went with everything fulfilled, hair done, nails done, toes done, beautiful dress, the whole. And it was just this and again, I was exhausted.
Sure.
And I'm like, and I'll do it again. If prom rolls around next year and this happens again, I'll do it again. So yeah, that's probably my absolute top 3 favorite parts about this job. And I've been in the nonprofit world for a long time. And I can honestly say that this is the first time where it's like, oh, we're doing this. You're serious about this. You're serious about meeting needs. And so I love it. I love it, and I'm so grateful to be able to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's so cool. I just feel like every story you tell, I have to sit with it for a minute before I can talk again. Yeah, even just the base level, being able to see a need and fill a need where the kid is at. Because I've been around other organizations that do a good job of meeting needs, but it's okay, you're telling me you have a need. Here's, a gift card or a voucher for you to go do it.
Right.
You need your laundry done. Here's money to go do your laundry on your own. Nothing wrong with that, but
right.
If they don't have time for the next 5 days because kids work,
right.
2 jobs, whatever the case may be, while they're here now, this is the time to fill that need.
Right.
And to your story, the prom isn't something that she can take a gift card and go,
right. And even the transportation,
sure.
She has 2 parents who are working full time, sometimes very long hours every week. And so it was like, okay, sure, we can get a gift card or do this, that, and the third. But then how does she get there? Because she doesn't drive yet. How does she get it? Right. Just all of the things. And even that, taking her, for her nails and her toes, I took her where I go. And my nail tech has been here before doing we did a manicure day with the girls, and she showed them how to properly do a manicure and all of the things. So it was someone who she already knew. So she felt like, okay, I'm all right with going to get my nails done from her. She's safe.
Right.
But again, with the dress, she would have had to take an Uber or a Lyft or the bus or gone through all these hoops to get there, which would have just drained her even more. And it's this is her moment. This is her moment, a moment that, depending on who you ask or would have asked a year ago, would have, been like, she ain't gonna go. She's going, and we're gonna get her there as stress-free as possible because she deserves that, for no other reason, because she deserves that.
Yeah. So that's one of those things, 20, 30 years from now, that'll still be on her mind, on your mind, obviously, too, but in her memory as a highlight, as opposed to yet another moment that proved she was a failure or proved she couldn't do it or whatever. Now she has that moment to look back on as a positive.
Yeah.
That's so cool. We've been referring to students and girls and stuff this whole podcast. Yeah. Is there a age range specifically that you serve in the Women's Strength and Fitness Center?
Yeah, so the age is the same as open gym, ages 13 to 24. We are slowly teetering into middle school age. We're seeing the need. We're seeing girls come to us who are like 12, even 11. And we're playing that by ear and taking it very, very lightly. Well, not lightly, but like...
Treading lightly.
Yes, treading lightly. There we go. Because one, we want to respect and honor the space that we said it is 13 to 24, especially 13, you're coming into your teens, things are changing, life is happening. And so, like, I know for me, like as a high school student, depending on, who was around or whatever, I'm not going to have this in-depth conversation around a bunch of little girls. Like, I want to be with my peers. I want to be able to know that, like, I'm having this mature conversation with other girls in this. So, yeah, it's for that reason we are treading very lightly around that age group. But the need is there. And it's to that, like, that's that age where it's like, I'm not a little girl anymore, but I'm not grown yet either. And so it's this in between, it's this like teenage purgatory. Like it kind of like, that's the only way to like kind of, it's like a teenage purgatory.
Right.
And so again, because of who we are, it's like, man, like there is this need and we don't want to leave them just hanging there. So how do we start to meet it and meet it well? Not just jumping in head first and all right, let's just do it and start. How do we do this well? So that it thrives and it grows and it's healthy for us and healthy for the young ladies that we want to bring on. So, but technically ages 13 to 24.
Okay. That makes it sound like we're already outgrowing the space that we have.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine the only way to serve those ages adequately would be to have distinct programming or separate spaces, and you can't have a separate space up there. Like it's one room.
Yeah, it's one large room. Like the lounge area, you step into it and it feels a little different. There's fairy lights and cute little affirmations all over the wall and whatever, but it's right smack there. So it is like, again, like if our older girls want to be able to have in-depth conversation that could be, a little intense for someone who's younger.
Right.
We want and need to honor that. Like, I don't want to ever lose that. I don't ever want our girls to be like, never mind. We're not coming up here to have this conversation. We're just not going to say anything. And so, yeah, having to really navigate possibly moving into this space.
Well, even on just a very superficial, like the physical level, weightlifting for a 12-year-old is very, very, very different than a 24-year-old.
Yeah.
It's like what kind of programming you develop is going to be totally distinct.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually, it's funny, we have two young ladies who are in middle school. They're the little sisters to one of our like OG benchmark students who is, now a grown adult doing his thing, but he still comes to visit and hang out. And the same, like they went to go deadlift and I was like, oh, like, want to help them and support them. And they're like, oh, we know. And I'm like, don't give me sass. And then like she did it. She did this lift and her form was fantastic. It was like on the heavy side, like we're watching, like, oh, I'm like, okay, go ahead. You're giving me sass, go ahead. And just nailed it. And I was like, what? And then she was like, I like me and my sister wrestle. Like they are on a wrestling team. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I'm like, listen, you let me know if you need me. But that's not the norm, So yeah, having to like, okay, but that's not how all of our girls operate.
Sure.
So yeah, there are some who won't touch a weight. They're like, absolutely not. You know, and that too, breaking that stigma around women in weightlifting. So many of our girls are like, I'm not trying to get bulky and look like a man. And I'm like, do you know what it would take for you to look like a man? Like, do you know how, like, all the things you'd have to do to look
Human
like
growth
a man?
hormone for one.
Yeah, like, and so like, again, and I'm so grateful because we're in a time and a space right now where so many women are weightlifting and getting strong and are growing, like, and so yeah, being able to have those conversations and like, actually, this is what happens, and here are all of the other benefits around weight training for women, you know, even down to like how it affects your menstrual cycle. Like, you know, it actually is really helpful and can help like relieve a lot of like your menstrual pain. And if you're having irregular cycles, like it can help get you back on track because you're taking good care of your body and your body feels safe. A lot of times when it's irregular, it's because there's, you know, you're really stressed out, a nervous system issue and all of the things. And so working out and weight training can help get you back on track and bring your nervous system down and make your body feel safe. And so again, cultivating and having those conversations with the girls around weightlifting, because the stigma was and still a little really thick in that whole, like, I'm gonna get bulky and huge. I'm like, okay. So yeah. And again, that's where like meeting them where they're at.
Yeah.
Like even that, like having to learn to like, all right, I don't need to get into it with them and go back and forth about how that's not true. Like, let's just, you know, and sometimes I'm like, oh, then I must be really bulky and gross. And they're like, no, miss, you look so, and I'm like, oh, well, I weight lift and I actually lift pretty heavy, you know, or even like when they see me, they're like, you eat a lot. I'm like, that's the joy of weightlifting. Like you can lift really heavy and then just pound this delicious food and, you know, you don't have to eat like a bird. And they're like, okay, you know what? All right, fine, I'll try.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Huh. So is it, I'm just out of pure curiosity, the relationship between weightlifting and your menstrual cycle, is it primarily around the overall fitness level? Like if you are fit, that positively benefits your cycle, or is it like actually lifting in the middle of your, like during your period?
Yeah, so it's the overall, whether you're in your window of menstruation or not, the overall health, and more often than not, irregular cycles and periods and all of the things. And mind you, there are very real conditions, endometriosis, PCOS, all of those things. But even those things can be regulated. And speaking as someone who lives with and has suffered immensely from endometriosis, I have seen a massive shift in my condition and the way it has changed when I started weightlifting, and not like little cute little, like really weightlifting and eating well and taking better care of myself. And a lot of that too, like I said, with the irregular is the nervous system, because the body is like, okay, something is wrong. We're not safe. Yeah. So we need to shut this down. Like we can't ovulate. We can't have a period. We can't make a baby. And mind you, no babies. But that's regardless. That's the body's process. That is the female body process. And so when the nervous system is dysregulated and out of whack, that is the first thing our bodies will protect. And so it can cause periods to stop or to get worse. And so being healthy, being fit, lifting weights, walking, you know, any of those things can help bring your body back into regularity and make your nervous system feel safe. And so, yeah, we've had girls who are like, it's okay, you know what? I'll try it. If it does that, I'll definitely try it. And so it's like, okay. Yeah. Like however you step into it, I'm cool with that. Yeah. Whatever it is that gets you going, whether it's because you want to eat a lot, your, you know, menstruation cycle, whatever it is. Yeah. You know, we have some girls who are like, I just want a fat butt. Cool. if that's your goal, I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
I'm not because it's without fail that then you want everything else to match.
Well, sure.
And so then like, okay, what do I have to do for the rest of the stuff? And
Right.
it's one of those things where it was like hook, line, sinker.
Yeah.
The fat butt was the hook, line, sinker, and here we are.
That's awesome. Yeah. Huh. I've thought about weightlifting as through a trauma informed lens before, and just how the act of picking something heavy up and putting it down and everything that your body has to do to make that happen forces you to be in touch with what is happening.
Yeah.
And it especially weightlifting, when you're taking breaks in between sets, and it allows you to be more mindful of what's happening in your body. And there's some research around how that interplays and positively impacts the effects of trauma in your life. But that's such a overarching high level, like a specific example of this will potentially help your menstrual cycle. That is so powerful and such a great hook.
I actually read a book called Lifting Heavy Things, and it was just that. It was all about trauma-informed weightlifting, and the woman who wrote it, her own journey through like being assaulted and having to, like, she started weightlifting because she was getting really depressed and all of the things, and needed an avenue to be free, but had to find a trainer who could meet her because she was going to gyms and places where it was that like, get your ass up, let's go. And the yelling and it would send her, it would just like, because it felt like it was happening again. Or even like the barbell or the weight being on top of you. And you do. Sometimes you have moments where you're like, I can't get this back up. Oh my gosh. And it triggers you. And so having to find someone who could not only meet her where she was at, but care for her intentionally through fitness and strength training. But then she saw the need and pursued her own certification in trauma-informed weight training. And I'm actually, I think it's next weekend, going to be doing a course and a certification around trauma-informed weight training because it's very real. I learned a lot of that when I was getting my yoga teacher certification. But, it's different. The two are very different.
Sure, yeah.
So having those tools and being able to address those things. And like I can see it and I can tell like there are times where, somebody's lifting and it's not because it has nothing to do with the weight. Something is happening in their body and their nervous system and their emotions. And that's why they can't get the weight up. That's why it feels like too much. And it's like, just put it down. It's okay. Like, it's okay. And it is. It's just that. Like, sometimes it's just saying that, like, it's okay to let go. It's okay to let go of the heavy things. You don't have to hold on to that. And seeing this moment where they're like, I don't. And it's not, we both know we're not talking about the weight. We're not talking about the weight at all. So, yeah, I'm super excited to take the training.
I bet.
Super excited. Yeah.
Can you take good notes and share them with me?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah. And like I said, the book is called Lifting Heavy Things. Yeah. And it really, she even like after each chapter has these really awesome exercises for like check-ins and things like that, and to be aware of what's happening in the body. And we've used them upstairs for a number of different things. And yeah, it's, again, I don't want to say interesting, but really neat to see like when those shifts happen. And it's why myself and Justice were so intentional about a holistic approach. And we're very different. Like, I'm like super fitness based, and Justice is very like the healing through hobbies and all of like the junk journaling and the vision boards and all the things like that. Like, that is her drive. And so to be able to offer those things together and collaborate, it meets that. It meets that whole full circle, like those needs, mental, emotional, spiritual, like they're met.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So speaking of needs, as Women's Strength and Fitness Center, what are a couple top priorities that you have going forward that our benchmark community could help with?
I don't want to say that's a hard to answer, because I feel like Benchmark as a whole, at least like organization wise, like the way we support each other is unmatched. But community wise, like outside of these four walls, I think it would just be getting the word out. You know, if you have friends who have teenage girls and they're trying to find an avenue, to kind of just get out of the house and, do something engaging. Or if I tell parents all the time, like, they don't have to come every day. Like, if they want to come 1 day a week, 2 days a week, because I never, ever, ever want it to be forced. Again, I'm a huge advocate for autonomy, and so I want the choice to be theirs. And then, we just meet them there. If all you're doing is 1 day a week, that's fine. And we've had that where we've had girls who are like, I'm not coming here more than once a week. Okay. But now you're here 5 days a week. Every time I turn around, you're in this building, and like, we'll take it. So like outside of getting the word out, we're always open to, having folks come in and offer support. Like if you have a talent or a gift you want to share, again, the examples of like the sewing class, the nail tech who came in and did manicures with the girls. Another girlfriend of mine who is a licensed esthetician and makeup artist came in twice, and she did like proper skincare and taught the girls how to figure out what kind of cleansers and moisturizers they need for their specific type. And then came back and did a makeup tutorial and taught them how to do their whole face and how to choose the foundation that's right for them. And so like things like that, like if folks, if there's something that someone has to offer, because I get it, like some people are like, but I don't lift weights, I don't do, that's okay. Like what do you have? What do you got? Because if you got it and we can use it, we'll take it. Because again, we can't do it all. We can't offer, I could never offer a sewing class. Sure. I can barely take care of the nails I have now, showing someone how to do a manicure. So yeah, it's in those ways that like, if the community wants to be of help and support, that's always huge.
Okay. What would you tell a parent? How would you advise them to introduce their daughter or their child to your space?
So a tour, like that's always the first. I tell them, bring them in during open gym hours. We'll do a tour. They can, see the building, see what we're doing, and then, kind of go from there. They can get to chat with me or with Justice or our SLPs for a little bit and kind of go from there. If they want to stay and hang out after the tour, they're welcome to. If they don't and they want to come back later, that's also an option. However that looks. And I've even invited parents, because you have some parents who are like, oh, I'm leaving my kid here. Like they're here, and it's like, yeah. And I get it. We are a little more intimidating first look than other places that offer services for young people. And so it's like, sure, like there have been times where I'm like, you're welcome to stay too. Like if you want to stay for an hour and kind of, I mean, it might be embarrassing for your kid. I know I'd be upset if my mom was like, I'm going to stay too. But to put them at ease, to give them that peace of mind, I get it. I'm a parent. So, if you want to hang for a little bit and see what we do, if you want to join us in a workout. Likewise, on Tuesdays, we have a hip hop step class that's open to our girls get first priority, but it's open to the community. So there have been times as well where like, I'll say to mom, come on a Tuesday and take the step class, with your daughter and our students, or you take the step class while your daughter, hangs out. And it's that like best of both worlds. The student doesn't feel like mom is a helicopter, but mom also
Sure.
gets the luxury of like, okay, I'm in the building and I'm still,
Sure.
I can see my kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, just those things. And I think we're really good as an organization about being transparent with parents who want that.
Yeah.
You know, we have some parents who are like, that's where they're, okay, cool. See you later.
Right.
I'll see you when you get home. And, you know, and that's not like a dig or anything like that. Like some parents are just like, that's cool. I'm just glad they're out of the house.
Right.
And then you have others who are like, I'm a little nervous about this. And they want full transparency. And I don't think we've ever been like, nope. It's absolutely. If that'll give you peace of mind and make clear to you that you can trust your child, your student being here, absolutely. So, you know, I give my phone number to parents and they're like, you can call, you can text, whatever it is. I've had parents who are like, I need you to send me a picture of my kid there. Okay, click. Here you go. They're here. Like, you know, so,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. So on that note, if there is an interested student or parent or, you know, somebody watching and they want to contact you, how should they do that?
So they can refer their student on the website. They can also call. More often, it's not me who answers. Our executive assistant will answer and then pass the information on to me and I reach out.
Okay.
Or you can just pop up, like quite truthfully. Monday through Thursday, 5 to 8. You can just show up with your student and say, you know what, we'd like to have a tour right here, right now, and talk about what it looks like for my child to get involved with Benchmark. And we'll do it.
Okay, great. You can also DM us on socials. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Just shoot us a DM and the right person will get back to you. Yeah, anything else for the good of the order? Anything you want the people to know?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much for being here and
for
sharing what you do
Thank you.
in the Women's Strength and Fitness Center.
It's exciting stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure we'll have you back sooner or later to give us some updates of the cool new stuff you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, thank you. See ya.